All right, Cone. It's Monday. It's Halloween.
It is.
Got to thinking. Who do you think the first person was, or like, how do you think the first interaction was of somebody going to trick or treat? All right, so you got like the Halloween holiday, like Blaine, you got the Halloween holiday. Everybody's like, all right, we're gonna have the Halloween holiday. Do you think like just like some huge morbidly obese person was just like, dog, what do you think if like we dressed up? Like, let's say like I was a cowboy and you were an Indian and like Todd could be a police officer. Like, do you think we could give people to give us things? And be like, well, what is the one thing you would want? If you could walk up to somebody's house and what is the one thing that if you could have that you would want? Oh boy, goes candy. Like, but how did it go down when you went to that person's house? Was there like a squad of people in a city one day that were like, hey, you know, it'd be a good idea? Let's all walk around the neighborhood and ask each other for candy. Like, I'm just wondering how that first
of Halloween.
Does somebody in the chat? I need somebody in the chat or on YouTube to tell the origins of Halloween. How did this thing start? It, like just knowing the holiday. Like it's not even like, oh well, you know, this guy they thought he was murdered 300 years ago and like on this day, whatever. How did the trick-or-treating start?
Got it right here.
What is it? How did trick-or-treating start?
The history of trick-or-treating traces back to Scotland and Ireland, where the tradition of gousing.
Gousing?
Gousing or goosing.
It's a gousing?
Going house to house at Halloween and putting on a small performance to be rewarded with food or treats.
There you go.
It goes back at least far as the 16th century and does the tradition of people wearing Halloween costumes.
Putting on a small performance? So like, what do you have, like a little skit?
So
like
we got lazy.
Now I know we've gotten lazy.
Group?
Now you just like expect a full-size candy bar and you're not even putting on a performance.
Can you imagine that? Like back in the day, it's like they knock on the door and you open it and they're like, hello. They're like, we got a little skit for you. And it's like, it's like pitch perfect. They're like, bop, bop, bo. It's like they do like a little jingle. Nowadays, we just show up and ring the doorbell. God, we suck.
Yeah. Just like
we're the worst.
The one I've wondered is what did they do to the very first person who carved something evil into a pumpkin?
Like evil or just carve something into a pumpkin?
Well, are we splitting hairs here?
Yeah, I think we are. I think there's, if you show up to my house with a smiley face pumpkin, I'm going to treat you a lot different than if you show up to my house with somebody getting stabbed in the throat.
I guarantee you the first pumpkin carving was not a smiley face.
You don't think it was a smiley face?
I don't think so. I think it was.
They probably burned that person.
That's what I'm saying. They probably burned the first person to carve a pumpkin, and now we have our 3-year-old.
I still can't get over this small performance, though. At the door. Like, what did you,
show us real quick
like in Scotland, like, did they open the door and you had a little puppet? They're like, look, I can make him dance and do all sorts of other things. Like, look at him dance across my shoulder.
All right. Who invented pumpkin carving? I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
Because in Ireland, people,
the Irish, man.
People started to carve demonic faces out of turnips to frighten away Jack's wandering soul. When Irish immigrants moved to the U.S., they began carving jack-o'-lanterns from pumpkins as they were native to the region.
Cone. You were right.
Demonic, man.
We all got smarter today.
It's like anime, man. It's demonic, dude.
It's like anime?
Demonic. Yeah, that's a Wall
show. Always goes back to anime.
That's a Wall show.
Well, it's look, I don't trust any of it. But
happy Halloween.
That's a great call. But yeah, happy Halloween. The #1 Georgia Bulldogs will take on the #2 ranked Tennessee Volunteers this weekend. We're going to break down the best and worst we saw from the whole realm of football. And the World Series is tied 1-1 with Game 3 tonight. It's a sports mecca time of year. I'm Jake Crane, and welcome to Crane & Company. We've already had some great matchups this college football season, but none may be as big as the showdown that we have brewing in Athens between the #1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs and the #2 ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Now, this game not only has SEC championship implications, it has national ones as well. And while Georgia is the favorite to win the game, and they should be, this Tennessee team does not need a miracle to be able to snatch away a huge road victory this weekend. Now, this Georgia defense is more than formidable. They're daunting, but they aren't the stonewall we saw last year with Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis and all those guys. The Georgia offense, however, is more deadly than it was last year, and can more than keep up if this game turns into a shootout. Now, the key for Tennessee won't be just scoring. That's what everybody's going to talk about. We know that they can score enough, but the thing everybody needs to be focusing on is the matchup between Tennessee's defense versus the Georgia offense. That's going to decide how this game goes down, and it's the most sides of the ball, position group battle, however you want to put it. It's the biggest matchup for this game. Now, can Tennessee get enough stops versus the mailman and a wide receiver group that is waiting to burst onto the scene? And a game like this is the perfect opportunity. With Tennessee adding McCullough back in the secondary, it's huge. And if they continue to tackle in space well, they are good enough to beat this Georgia team. Let me say that again. If Tennessee continues to tackle well in space, they are good enough to beat this Georgia team. Now, this isn't an overmatched or overhyped Volunteer team as well. They're more than ready and more than capable. But the question is not about potential, it's about execution. Now, I'm not ready to make a pick on this game just yet. I will be soon. But after watching the tape, this game is as close as I have seen in a long time when it comes down to roster talent, ability, and execution between Tennessee and Georgia. And it should be a hell of a matchup. I'm going to bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback, Heisman candidate, and looking like he's about to bully somebody in a high school.
But in the nicest way possible.
But in the nicest way. You're going to bully him with kindness?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Kindness.
Can you bully somebody with, they say you can kill them with kindness, but can you bully them with kindness?
I don't know.
How would that go? Would you show up to the high school? You're like, oh, hey, look at what Rick's wearing. You could tell his dad probably got a raise or something at work. Those are new clothes.
Oh, so it's kind of backhanded in nature?
Yeah, kind of maybe.
What if you're anti-bullying, but you like bully the bullies? Are you a bullier? That's we don't have to. We don't have to digress.
What did you say to Blaine?
I'm saying if you bully the bullies.
I mean, sometimes.
Are you a bully? If you bully the bully,
bullying can be kindness in time. You know?
It can be in some ways.
Time.
You know, some people.
Blaine fat shamed some kid in high school.
Look, I fat shamed my best friend. My best friend. Now he's a lawyer and he works out every day. You're welcome.
Man.
True story.
In the world, one friend at a time.
True story. It's just how you go about it. Some people call it bullying. Some people call it negative reinforcement that leads to constructive reinforcement. Some people call it constructive criticism.
In life, bullying is necessary. Like nowadays, I mean, there's people walking around with like pretending they're kittens and woofs. Like those kids needed to be bullied in high school.
There's some merit to it. There's some merit to it. But I wonder if you can bully somebody with kindness. I think that's a real thing.
We'll look into it.
Like, hey man, you look great today.
Is there a Google form for that too?
Yeah, we'll make one. But how would you bully somebody with kindness? Like what is a great example? Like they come and be like, man, Rich, you don't smell bad at all today, like usual.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you grew a couple inches today. Disgusting.
All right, that would be my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver and current NFL free agent. Hey, Packers, y'all need some help? Yes, you do.
Call him up.
Especially at the wide receiver position. Blaine, when we look at this game, and we're going to be breaking this game down all week, again, the talk is going to be about the Tennessee offense versus the Georgia defense. But typically, just like anything, when that's the talk, it's something else that's going to decide the game. If I'm Tennessee, this game is coming down to two things: stops and red zone appearances that end in a field goal or a touchdown. I don't think Tennessee is going to score over 50 points in this game. They're averaging a little bit over 50 right now. To me, this seems like a game where Tennessee scores 38 points max. I really feel like it's in between 38 and 35. I think Tennessee can get over that 30 mark. I think they're good enough with Cedric Tillman coming back to add in with Brew McCoy and what we've seen with this offensive line, which I think can hold up. But if Tennessee is able to score touchdowns in the red zone and not just settle for field goals, I really believe, Cone, this is a field goal game.
You think so?
Either way. I feel it's a field goal game either way. Everybody's going to be talking about the Tennessee offensive matchup. Hendon Hooker versus Georgia defense. That's what we're going to be hearing about. All right? But it's going to come down to Stetson Bennett versus Tennessee defense. And at the end of the day, when you look at the talent level, I still think Georgia has a better roster. But Tennessee has done a pretty good job in the Pitt game. They weren't great against the run early. I know that was earlier in the year. But they're tackling in space better. Very confidence-building win defensively. I know it's Kentucky, but only holding them to 6 points with Will Levis. If the Tennessee defense can get enough stops, which I think they can, this game is going to come down to somebody making a field goal.
Okay, so I agree with you on the field goal spread there. I'm not surprised that Georgia is favored at home, defending national champions, but +8 right now.
Yeah.
Blaine, I think you saw the line when it opened was +9?
I believe when this line opened, it was +11.5.
It was plus
11.5 Tennessee.
Plus 11 or 11 and a
that
half.
is wild to me, even with the Bulldogs being at home. Here's what 6.5 would make sense to me. I could get behind just the hook under a touchdown. I think more like 3.5, like you're saying, would be a good line for this. Here's one thing I am interested, though. Georgia came out hot, right? 49-3 over Oregon, and we've seen Oregon get better every single week. Clearly a very good football team. Bo Nix is playing his best football. I have a hard time believing Georgia would beat Oregon 49-3 this weekend, even though I think Georgia would still win the football game.
Yeah.
But since then, they haven't played a ranked opponent, okay? Samford, South Carolina, Kent State, Missouri, Auburn, Vanderbilt, and then Florida this past weekend. They beat Florida by 22 in a rivalry game. That's impressive. Florida did work their way back to get it within 8, though, okay? On the flip side of that, Tennessee's schedule, and we said this from the beginning of the year as Tennessee started to reel off these wins. Whoever put this Tennessee schedule together, it was very smart in terms of Pitt on the road early. Not a great football team, but a tough team to beat, especially on the road early in the season. A good win, right? In overtime, a good win. Then you get Florida at home, and when you're scheduling these, you don't know if Florida could be great this season, right? You don't know, but you get Florida at home. They were able to win that game. On the road in Baton Rouge, blew out LSU. They have a win over Kentucky now. To me, they're a little bit more seasoned in terms of the tough games that they've played. So if this thing does become a field goal game late in the fourth, after you've already gotten through the juggernaut of beating Alabama, that's the win to me that should give Tennessee the most confidence. Even though it was at home, you finally got over the hump of beating Nick Saban for the first time. If it turns into a field goal late, you have to think Tennessee's sitting there like, we can beat Georgia.
Yeah. You won't be afraid of the moment. That's where your experience comes in. That's why having a guy like Hendon Hooker, behind center is so big in a game like this. I think when you look at Georgia's schedule and you look at Tennessee's schedule and who they've played, I think that's a wash because Georgia's playing at home. I think that is a true wash. I wouldn't put a ton into that. Georgia can only play who was in front of them. The one game they've had against a top-rate team, they beat the hell out of them. It is hard. Even at a place like Georgia that just got their first sniff of a national championship, everybody's excited. You return guys that know the process and things like that. A lot of guys on the same staff. Georgia, to me, has beaten who is in front of them, and they've played well for the most part. It's tough to get guys up to play like you played against Oregon or play like you're going to play against Tennessee every single weekend when you are playing teams you're better than. It's just human nature. They've got to this point undefeated, so I think it's a wash there. But Blaine, when I'm looking at this game and we talked about it, it's funny. I know obviously it's not as big of a matchup, but when you had South Carolina and A&M, you're like, all right, if you feel like teams are pretty even, typically we see a big special teams play that may be the difference. Maybe it's a blocked field goal. Maybe it's a kickoff return for a touchdown, a punt return for a touchdown, a kick out of bounds late that sets a team up to kick a field goal to win the game. I feel like this could be a game that gets determined by a special teams play. And who's going to be the team that makes it? Because typically when teams are even, and I do think Georgia and Tennessee are about as even as they've been in a long while, but just from a national teams that can win a national championship, Tennessee's good enough to win a national championship. I can just tell you. With the teams that are out there, and we've seen it, we know who they are, they know who they are. But Blaine, is there a matchup in this game, or is there something in this game that maybe we're overlooking that could be the difference?
You go through the quarterback matchups, obviously. I believe in Stetson Bennett, especially what he's been through. I've always doubted the guy. The only thing he does is come through in big moments. That's all he does. The big thing for me is going to be just time of possession in this game. How many times does the Tennessee offense get the ball? And what you mentioned is kind of red zone. If I'm Georgia, I'm doing what? I'm slowing this football down, and I'm muddying this game as much as possible. If there is one guy, you go back to last year, and I obviously know this isn't the same Tennessee team, but Kirby Smart knows how to somewhat scheme against this team.
Yeah.
And Kirby, and if anybody knows how to do it, there's two people. That's Nick and Kirby. The one big difference this game is where it's at Georgia. This is still the reigning national champions. I know they lost a lot on defense, but hell, they're giving up 10 points a game right now. Pretty good. This will be the best defense that Tennessee's seen all year. All year. And this game's not at home. This game is not in front of all those people. If you're Tennessee, you're walking into Athens. This isn't a joke. I know you have a real quarterback, you have a real team, but it's going to be line of scrimmage and it's going to be the time of possession. If Georgia can control the tempo of this game at the line of scrimmage and control the time of possession, I like Georgia in this game. It's going to be a one-possession game, but I promised myself after I picked Oregon to beat them this year, I'm not going against Georgia this year unless I really have to. Neutral field, I would someone like Tennessee, to be honest. But at home, that place is going to be absolutely
it's gonna be nuts.
Jumping from the get-go. So I like Georgia. I'm leaning Georgia in this game. 11.5 is a joke. Is a joke to me. This game will be a one-possession game. I almost like it towards the Alabama game where the team who has it last is going to win the game.
Yeah, we have Alabama, LSU as well, but I don't think anybody's been as confident walking into Athens since Xerxes and the boys and the Persians back in the day. I do want to say, too, from an atmosphere standpoint, don't think that the Georgia fans don't realize they haven't had a huge game really at home yet either. That place is going to be like Blaine. It is going to be an absolute pressure cooker. It's going to that and LSU at night. We've got this game going on, and we've got LSU taking on Bama at night. You want to talk about two atmospheres in the college game where it doesn't get much better? That's where it's at with those two.
On the time of possession thing, I would bet big money Georgia wins the time of possession.
For sure.
Right? I think Tennessee could win the football game with not winning the time of possession just because they score so quickly a lot of times. Now, this past weekend against Kentucky, they did have a 15-play drive that chewed up 4 minutes a clock, and they had another 10-play drive chewed up 3.5 minutes a clock. So that's, if you're a Tennessee fan, that's fun to see, that you can actually control the football, not just score on the first play every time. But I think Georgia will win the time of possession. How many turnovers will you have?
Yeah,
I think that'll play into it as well.
Speaking about chewing, guys, it's almost Thanksgiving. That's right. I know it's Halloween right now, but it's almost Thanksgiving. I want to chew on a deep fried turkey. But before I do that, guys, all right, because it is officially turkey fried season. Before I do that, I can't wait to break out the turkey fryer. But I've got to call Cinch. All right, you need to go online to cinch.com or download their new app to order. All right, here's what they provide. It's an unbelievable service. They're a propane grill tank home delivery service. They deliver propane tanks right to your door on your schedule. No long-term commitment or subscription required. Plus, every delivery is completely contactless. You don't have to be home to receive the delivery. You can track the order on the Cinch app from everywhere. All right, so make sure you go to cinch.com or download their app to order. All right, new customers can get their first tank exchange for just $10 if you use the promo code BOOSTER. All right, this is another way for us to help you. You want to get your fry on, go ahead and get your buy on. But make sure you do it with promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER. That's cinch.com, or download the Cinch app and use promo code BOOSTER to get your first tank exchange for just $10. That's CYNCH.com, promo code BOOSTER. This is a limited time offer, and you must live within a Cinch service area to redeem it. So visit cinch.com/offer for details. Make it a Cinch.
Low Country Boil. That's what I'm using for
I love where your head's at. Teen
You boys are coming over, too.
Yeah. Look.
What's the Club de la Booster say, Blaine?
Oh, okay. Well, we already got some donations in here rolling.
Oh, it's a dono sesh?
You know we're going to talk about this. Stevie J, $20 donation.
Stevie.
Brother. He says, I know you touched on Michigan State this weekend, but with the new videos of the hitting the guy in the head with a helmet, should criminal charges be filed?
We're going to get to that in the best of words.
All right, let's go ahead and play. You want to go ahead and play the video real quick?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Let's go ahead and play the clip because this thing keeps growing legs. Let's run this Michigan State video. If you're on audio, I'll give you the play-by-play. Let's run it. So obviously they're in the tunnel here, and for lack of a better term, they're jumping a Michigan player. He just getting beat up. They're taking swings at him. You know, we talk about the video with the helmet. We can talk about the tunnel. You need more than one way in, more than one way out. And I will say the video before this does show the Michigan player, all right, kind of moving up into Michigan State as the game is over. I wasn't right there, and I don't know what was said. Either way, cooler heads should have prevailed. There should not have been a fight. But I do want people to understand the intense atmosphere just in general in a college football game at high level. But in a rivalry football game, it is at peak level. Any sort of spark can start an absolute wildfire, and that's what we see here. I don't think there should be criminal charges filed. I really don't, David.
Well, 4 players have already been suspended. This is Tank Brown, Kari Crump, Angelo Gross, and Zion Young have been suspended from the Michigan State football team. It sounds like they are reviewing whether or not other players should be suspended, and then possibly even criminal charges fired. So we'll see.
Where are the coaches?
Yeah, that's my question. Why is nobody watching anybody leaving? How is he allowed to go up there like that? Why is there not somebody that is sitting there separating the teams, making for sure, not only before the game, not only at halftime, but at the end of the game, that this team enters, the other team waits. We see it all the time. Michigan isn't the only place where there's one way in and one way out. We see this all the time. I don't know how it's not more organized. I know in a perfect world you'd love to be like, all right, well, guys, you can handle it. We're all adults. When there's this much emotion, it shouldn't be in their hands. It really shouldn't be in their hands. I'm just surprised that it was this disorganized. That's my thing. But you've lived it.
Yeah, no, Michigan is on the opposite side of the field from the tunnel. They keep us over there the best they can so the other team can go up. One player went up there. I mean, I don't know if he ran into anybody or not. From the angle that I saw when he went up into the tunnel, he's running up the right side, which is where the Michigan locker room is. I don't know. I don't have any video surveillance from when he entered that tunnel, which we have video of, to when this right here happened. But I don't care if you're in a tough game. I don't care if it's a rivalry game. I don't care what happens. That's unacceptable.
It is unacceptable.
No, I agree. Let's go to Ryan. What's up, Ryan? $9.99 donation.
Ooh, Ryan.
Appreciate it, brother. All right. James Franklin is a choke artist. Can't win big games. Can't believe he scammed his way into a 10-year deal. Penn State season is gone. So when it's time to bench Clifford and give Aller all the reps?
Look, Drew Aller, I think, has a chance to be an outstanding player. Sean Clifford, you've been there for 10 years. I don't think he's won a game against a top 10 team. Like, at some point, if somebody shows you who they are, believe him. How many opportunities can you have? You come out and you say, all right, I've got to play, and they talk about this in the broadcast, I've got to play the best game of my life. And what do? You come out, throw 2 interceptions like the first 7 minutes. And Ohio State defensively, freaks running around that place. Tuamalu, I know I mispronounced that, had a hell of a game, absolutely breakout performance. Reason he was the #1 recruit. But I'm looking at Sean Clifford. I'm like, man, you just can't do it. You just can't do it. You've been there 8 years. But here's what happens, and I've talked about this on the show. When programs fall into one of the 2 happy traps, the first one, we're trying to keep up with the Joneses. We haven't really won anything. But we had one good year with this big-name coach. Now we have to throw everything at him because we don't want him to go to USC. Oh, God forbid James Franklin goes to USC, and then you overpay. Or you fall into the second trap, that we have a young coach that had one good year. Oh, Mel Tucker at Michigan State, you have one good year. Let's take all the money we have and give it to Mel Tucker. And I get it. It's an arms race. People are nervous. Athletic directors are nervous. Presidents are nervous that if we don't keep this guy that we've had a decent amount of success with and it goes downhill, they're going to fire me. Or, if we don't lock this new guy up that had one good year, these other schools are going to come poach him and we're going to miss our chance. So let's give him $90 million. Let's give him a $35 million buyout. People got to stop falling in the happy traps. That's what you're doing. It's either keeping up with the Joneses or you got a nice new young shiny car that you want to throw everything at and you hadn't even seen it race but 2 or 3 times. I'm just telling you, that's just how college football is. That's the way it's going. And until the buyouts can be affected, that's what's going to start changing this thing. But if people keep jumping the gun, just like in any business, if you jump the gun, it is a huge risk. And you better be right. And there's a lot fewer guys that can go in and ball the way that some of these guys are getting paid to ball in the coaching realm in college football.
All right, let's go to Angelo D. Raymond. What's up, brother? $9.99 donation. Says, listen to Jake's opening the other day, but an illegal bat and Valdez hair later. It's hard not to feel like there's some funny stuff going on. Just talking about the World Series?
You talking about the funny stuff like cheating?
Illegal bat, Valdez hair, and I saw something, I believe, the guy was using pine tars on his hand.
Yeah, see, okay, my thing with pine tar, with pitchers, it's obviously different with hitters. You look at the George Brett thing compared to pitchers are always going to be pushing the envelope, right? Just like everybody will always push the envelope. I think there's a big difference between some of the stuff we've seen. Now, a legal bat, that's a totally different story. That was a gifted bat. There is a trail to that with Maldonado. This isn't something where the bat was juiced. Or they're sitting here getting these. This was a gifted bat from Albert Pujols. You can kind of find and track that. The stuff with the pitchers where it's a little bit of pine tar, a little bit of hair, that they're a funny bunch. There's a big difference between me telling you what pitch is coming and somebody using a little bit of pine tar. The umpire will see it. They'll make the adjustments necessary. I don't want to blow this up into as big of a deal into what some people are making it. And if you're going to cheat, it's pretty hard to cheat when it's even. You know, if one team was just doing things if one team was just not able to hit the ball and you're like, what the hell's going on? Or another team scoring 16 runs a game and you're up 2-0 in the World Series, I'd give it a little more merit. But since we're 1-1, and what's the old saying? If you're both cheating, aren't you both playing even?
Cork the bats. Have the pine
Well,
tar
what's up,
Come on, baby.
None of
What's up,
this,
Blaine?
none
Come
of this
on.
affects your long-term health. Steroids does, all right? I'd stay away from the steroids, okay? Pine tar the whole bat. Cork the bats. Who cares? Let's hit as far as we can. I agree with you on.
Like I never understood.
Spider tack when you're pitching?
Steroids.
Look, what I never understood was
That seems like a fair.
what I never
Yeah, for
understood
sure.
was why would you think I'm cheating by putting pine tar all over my bat?
I've never understood
Like
it.
pine tar has the opposite effect of making the ball go further.
You can do it too. You know, like, it's not
Everybody
like,
use
it's not like
pine tar?
no. I only want to do it. No, let everyone do it. You
Yeah,
can
I
decide to-
understand not being for the pitcher not being able to use it. I get that, but the hitter, you should be able to dump the whole bat in pine tar. Why not? Well, you're like, man, he
always
hit that
said
home
that.
run and went further because he dumped it in
I'm
pine
loving this
tar.
conversation right now, fellas. I mean, y'all get to there one point about.
No, I'm not.
You're
I'm not
slowly
getting
working
there.
your way there.
I'm not
Fine.
slowly working my way
I'll be
there.
waiting
I
there
agree-
clapping at the finish line.
I agree
I'll hand
more
you
with
some
the
water.
fights during the seventh inning than being able to.
I mean, look, John Brinkus came on here and said that steroids doesn't help you hit the ball far.
Well, I seriously am starting to doubt that more and more. Now that I just say that out loud in the way my brain works and using common sense, I feel like it does.
You calling John Brinkus a liar?
You call
Look in that camera right
You calling Ben Shapiro a liar?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Wow, let's go to Sean Finison. Hashtag Ask Crandon Company. All right, let's make some A&M fans mad. Well, A&M be bowl eligible this year.
Let's go over the schedule. Let's look it up.
Can we
They're
pull it?
3-5 right now. I know you got a home game this way. I think you got Florida at home. A&M, I believe that's Florida at home.
All
Let's pull
right,
that
you got
schedule.
Florida at home.
Pick 'em. Absolute pick 'em, right? Can you score enough?
Yep. Then
Thought
you
the
go
offensive line
to
played
the
better.
absolute disaster and what they like to call the Auburn football team.
You want to talk about two? That's just like two ugly girls.
Are they
kissing.
3-5 right now?
Yeah.
They are.
Auburn's
3-5.
and A&M.
Texas A&M's 3-5.
Yeah.
And they have Florida at home, and they go to Auburn.
Yeah.
They go to Auburn. Then you have UMass at home. Should be a barn burner. All right.
UMass
Then
is terrible.
then hey guys, in the season, let's finish it off right. You got LSU at home. So
I
Well,
feel
we
like
need to
you
win 3 or
split.
4.
I feel like you split. I feel like you
Hopefully.
split the first two.
I mean,
Win
you said
one of
3 or
the
4,
win one of the
hopefully,
first two.
No, I'm saying they have to win 3
3 or
of those
4 to be bowl eligible. Yeah, correct.
No.
It's gonna be tough.
Well, UMass. So you split. UMass got to beat LSU. It's going to come down to LSU. Can you imagine if the game at the end of the year at home versus LSU is to determine whether A&M is bowl eligible and maybe LSU winning the West?
Oh,
Who would have thought that?
I guess I gave way too much credit. For
Maybe me.
for
Who had A&M starting
I
out
just
1
don't
and
see them
3.
beating LSU. I think it needs to be Florida and
It has to be
Auburn
Florida and Auburn.
UMass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Let's go to. God, I feel like I always say this name wrong. Alicia's Action Figure Frenzy, $10 donation.
Woo, hit that button.
Oh,
Cone.
Alicia's Action Frenzy.
Coming at you, Cone. Good morning, Booster Club.
Good morning.
Mr. Cone, as a true Buckeye fan, I have to take issue with you.
Oh, here we go.
Right this second
Yeah,
or
yesterday,
perpetually?
yeah. Who's upset?
Thinking
Yesterday, you listed elite Ohio State running backs from the past, and you did not list Archie Griffin.
Well, I wasn't
Heisman
going all the
winner, Cone.
like. Yeah.
Please tell
well,
everybody why you were wrong.
Look. The man is the only person to ever win 2 Heisman trophies. Yeah, I understand the greatness, but I wasn't going back that far because I didn't get to see that in person. The point that I was making was every single great Buckeye team that I've ever seen, when Troy Smith beat us from that jersey back there and he won the Heisman Trophy, they still had an elite running back on that team, right? I was going back to Maurice Clarett, who I got to see play and win a national championship against Miami. You had Beanie Wells, who I had to play
Beanie
against.
Wells.
Ezekiel Elliott. I remember
name.
Ezekiel Elliott taking off for 60-yard runs.
J.K.
to win the national
Dobbins.
championship. J.K. Dobbins, who has very, disappointed me on my fantasy football team. Yeah, I wasn't just listing. I mean, hey, if you want to go all the way back, I mean, we could talk about.
Well, look,
great backs
I
we've
don't
ever
think you
had.
talk about Ohio State running backs without talking about, the guy they had in 1911, Ronnie Crazy Leg Timken.
Oh, he was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
He had 3 toes on each foot. They were all in the middle. He could run faster.
Got
Said he
cheated.
gripped the ground.
Got
He played
cheated for
without
not.
cleats.
He was a Heisman candidate. Like
Yeah.
me. That's what I'm dressed as today.
What year was this?
1911.
1911.
They said in
Fastest-
world. They said in
fastest 40
They
time
said in
we've
world.
seen.
They said in
Ran a
world-
5.3.
They said in World War I, he would storm the other trenches and he'd be making like running back moves and they could never hit him.
Yeah.
No, but just think about that. All
Good
the great
story.
backs that they've had on years that they've had unbelievable teams.
Oh, look, Ohio State
Maurice
stays
Clarett,
with a back.
Beanie Wells, Ezekiel Elliott. It really is phenomenal. And another point that I was wanting to make there is that they have 2 great backs right now. They're just banged up. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that those kids aren't great running backs. It's just that if you're going to be that injured and you're going to force the Buckeyes to be so one-dimensional, it's nice to have C.J. Stroud and the wide receiving core that they have.
Very true.
But we
Even
saw
without Smith and
But
Jigba.
hey, They had C.J. Stroud at quarterback last year with Chris Olave, with even more weapons at wide receiver. And what happened late in the season? You saw their inability to be physical in the run game show up late when you play a Michigan team and it's snowing and the weather and the elements and all that stuff. So that's the point that I'm making is I want to see if they can continue to run the ball effectively like they did the last 6 minutes against Penn State, because that looked like a Buckeyes team I'm used to seeing.
And that's how you win a championship.
Yes.
And I'll tell you this, Marvin Harrison Jr. may be the best wide receiver in the country.
I think so.
Blaine, one more, we're going to get to best.
Oh, well, perfect. Let's go to Malcolm Martin, a $4.99.
Malcolm Eminem, what's up, dog?
Guys, Hugh Freeze size and extension. Is he now off the market?
The buyout didn't change.
Nope.
Trust me when I tell you this. The buyout didn't change. The biggest problem right now for Auburn is that they're about to hire John Cohen, who is the AD at Mississippi State, who knows all about the Hugh Freeze situation because he was in the state of Mississippi. So I think if John Cohen is hired as the athletic director at Auburn, you can forget Hugh Freeze. I think you can totally forget it, which puts Auburn in a very small bubble. I'll say this about John Cohen. I am willing to give the athletic director the benefit of the doubt depending on who he hires as the head football coach. Because you can be the worst athletic director ever and hire the best football coach and look like a genius. Okay, it's just the way it works. I will wait. I will hold out and see who he hires. But I was talking to somebody that played at Auburn, that is very involved in sports media. I'm not going to say who it is, and he made a great point. At some point, I guess you just got to embrace the darkness, right? You just got to embrace the darkness. You know, if John Cohen's the guy, and the money people behind the scenes, you want to lean into it, let's lean into it then. Let's lean into it then. Because the way I'm looking at it is either two things are going to happen. One, you hire John Cohen, he makes a hire the old guard likes, and it works out. Great, you were right. You were right. Everybody says you were right. Or, and this is probably the more likely scenario, the old guard hires John Cohen. John Cohen hires somebody the old guard wants because the old guard can control him. And that doesn't work out. But at that point, it's on y'all. See, now at Auburn, can't say it's on the boosters for Brian Harsin. Can't say it. You can't say it's on the money people or the old guard because they didn't pick Brian Harsin. So this crash and burn is not on them. So they have no reason to change or think that they should change or maybe give full control to somebody or maybe finally let go of the wheel and let Auburn blossom the way it should. They think, see what happens when we don't make decisions. So now, just make the decision. I'll embrace it. Hell, I'll join the Sith. Sometimes, I guess, to get out of the darkness, you got to embrace it. I'll go Jake Patine in here. That's fine. You want me to sing and dance for you and say it may be okay? That's fine. I'll ride with that. But when it doesn't work, if it doesn't work, then maybe Auburn will have hit rock bottom. It's like the best thing for an alcoholic or a drug addict, something like that. Hitting rock bottom, right? All right, I'm out of control. I don't know it the way I think I know it. I need help. I need help. Maybe this is right. Alabama hit rock bottom. Went and got Nick Saban, said, here, take it. Do whatever you want with it. What do we have to give you? You can have full control. All right, remember Dennis Franchione and Mike Shula and Mike DeBose and Mike Price and that disaster. Alabama had hit rock bottom. Georgia hadn't won the thing as long as Moses was wandering the desert. They said, you know what, Kirby? You learned from Nick. You want full control? We want it so bad. Here it is. All of it. You can have all of it. We thought we could do it with Coach Richt. Didn't end up being able to do it, even though he's a great man, had a great career. Here, Kirby, do it your way. Here's full control. This is rock bottom. Texas A&M looked around and said, okay, well, I guess for us to be able to do what we want to do, because we hadn't won a natty since 1939. Hell, they weren't even stuck in Dunkirk yet. That's fine. Here, Jimbo, what can we give you? All of it. We'll give you all of it. Here's full control because that's the way Saban did it. Apparently, it's the only way to do it. They have hit rock bottom. What is rock bottom for Auburn? What is rock bottom? And I think this is a way maybe to get to rock bottom. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe it'll work out. Probably not, but maybe it'll work out. So that's my deal with John Cohen. You want to hire the guy? Hire the guy. You don't want to hire Dave Benedict? That's fine. You don't want to hire Shane Lyons from West Virginia? That's fine. Hire John Cohen, who half of Starkville can't wait for him to leave anyway. So we're going to see. You know, sometimes you got to, like I said, embrace the darkness to break the darkness. We'll see. But speaking about darkness, let's go to best and worst.
Best and worst. You want to start with college or the NFL?
Let's start with the NFL.
All right.
My best, I'm going to go A.J. Brown. How can you not? How can you not? The Eagles handle business against the Steelers. Look, I know Kenny Pickett's young. George Pickett's. I love the core, Najee Harris that the Steelers have. I know they're beat up on defense. Guys, the Eagles are still undefeated. The Eagles are still for real. But A.J. Brown went absolutely dumb and really did it all in the first half pretty much. Okay, came out. I had Miles Sanders anytime touchdown. He got it late. But every time they had A.J. Brown isolated on the outside and they threw the vertical ball, they hit it for a touchdown. But we talk about DK Metcalf and we've seen Calvin Johnson, some of these bigger wide receivers, they're able to make plays. And A.J. Brown's been somewhat quiet in the supporting cast with Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts running the ball. We know the Eagles are a run-to-pass type team, but A.J. Brown showing that capability and reminding everybody in the league how dangerous he is, not only in the red zone for the fade or the 50-50 ball, but how he can just beat you on a straight vertical ball at that size, running that fast. We all remember what type of a freak he was at Ole Miss, and we knew he was going to be good in the league. But this does nothing but help the Eagles' run game more and more and more. This isn't even about the Eagles' pass game. For the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, they've got to dominate you on the ground and let it open up in the pass game. But when defensive coordinators that were thinking about maybe walking those safeties down a little bit, or maybe going man up across the board more than not because they say, you know what, we're going to make the Eagles beat us through the air, especially when they get in the green zone, which to me is in between the 50 and the 25-yard line before you get into the red zone. When you can hit home runs from out there, that tape that the Eagles put on this weekend and just seeing that number, I think it was 156 yards, 3 touchdowns on 9 catches, something like that. It wasn't like he caught 30 passes. That to me just opened up a couple more holes in the run game for not only Miles Sanders, but Jalen Hurts as well. That's how the Eagles can stay on schedule throughout the season, not just during games, by being able to have big plays, big afternoons, big stats, and big things on tape from a big wide receiver in A.J. Brown.
I was playing against A.J. Brown in fantasy football, so
which we're going to update that. There's some bar
not great.
Going
not
on.
great. Was also playing against this guy, which this is my best this week, boys. Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, and the Dallas Cowboys. Man, you got to give them their due. They're 6-2 right now. Dak Prescott goes 21 of 27, 250 yards, threw a pair of touchdowns, and Tony Pollard with Ezekiel Elliott, we were just talking about him. With him out, Tony Pollard has 14 carries, 131 yards, 3 touchdowns. You had him on your fantasy team, right?
Yeah, I put him in for Cortland Sutton, thank God.
Wow. 3 touchdowns, and now, boys, we're looking at a Cowboys team, like I said, that's 6-2 with 5 opponents on the rest of the schedule who have losing records.
Tony Pollard is the best running back on that team.
You think so?
He's the most complete back on that team.
Well, he's definitely the most healthy.
Right now. Well, I think he's better than Zeke right now. I mean, watch the way he runs. Well, watch his zone runs. Tony Pollard's able to hit the home run. That wasn't a slouch Bears defense that walked in there. But you know why Tony Pollard is that much more dangerous? And Zeke's not bad out of the backfield, catching the ball. We've seen that in the past in the red zone. Tony Pollard can do everything. The one thing you worry about Tony Pollard a little bit is pass protection. That's kind of what's kept him from being an every down back. But you want to talk somebody that's made some money, somebody that is shown to be an absolute threat in the pass game and in the run game. I'm talking about between the tackles. It wasn't like Tony Pollard was hitting those home runs, just taking stretch and beating people to the corner or bouncing everything outside. I mean, he was taking in between the tackle runs to the house. I think Tony Pollard right now is a more dangerous back than Ezekiel Elliott is.
Well, the Cowboys will now go to the Packers, okay, which they're having their own struggle right now. Then they go to the Vikings, who've only lost 1 game, and then they'll have the Giants at home. I remember they beat the Giants in New York
that's gonna
earlier.
Be a huge game.
So I don't know, man. I'm starting to look at this Cowboys team, even if they don't. I mean, that division now. Who would have thought the NFC East is?
Yeah, and seeing Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb being on the same page and them taking advantage of the intermediate and the vertical game has to give Cowboys fans a lot of happiness, of warm feelings. The defense, again, played well yesterday, had the defensive touchdown, did give up a couple things. You know, you had Mooney down the sidelines, and Justin Fields was able to do stuff on the ground, but we know how talented Justin is. Blaine, what's your best and worst?
Oh, man, when it rains, it pours. Alvin Kamara is my best. I haven't scored a touchdown all year. All year, and what does he do? He scores 3 of them in 1 game. Pretty nice little fantasy fix right there. But you see how you see how good Alvin Kamara is, and not only running the ball, I believe he had 65 yards running the ball, but led the game in receiving. Like, he's a complete back. There's a reason you're paying all this guy this money. There's a reason he signed this contract. I know he's having some off-the-field stuff. That might come down later. We'll see when that gets here. But Alvin Kamara is a top-tier back in the NFL, and I don't think they use him enough. You know, it got to the point where he got to the red zone. It's just Taysom Hill, Taysom Hill, Taysom Hill, Taysom Hill. This guy needs to be the main focus, especially with what's going on with the quarterback position right now. Andy Dalton's a good quarterback, not a great quarterback. I think Jameis Winston, you can kind of put in the same boat, maybe a little better than Andy Dalton, but this guy can be the face of a franchise. He's that good. He's that elite. So it was good to see the Saints actually put the balls in his hands and make him the first option on the Saints offense, which he should have been the entire year.
Yeah, and it's crazy the Saints have been scoring almost 30 points a game with Alvin Kamara not scoring touchdowns. The question now is, Blaine, with the Saints playing like that and seeing some sort of rhythm with Andy Dalton, one, I'm not putting Jameis back in there.
No, I'm not either.
He can't do it. And number two, I don't think I'm trading Kamara now.
Well, it's going to be for the kitchen sink. I want a lot. One, if it's going to be with the Eagles, which a lot of people thought it is going to be with the Eagles. The Eagles are trying to do the Super Bowl push. They could. I mean, Miles Sanders is a good back. Yeah, good back, but I mean, he's not Alvin Kamara. But I mean, you got it right. Didn't the Saints give up their first round to the Eagles?
Yeah, they don't.
Let me go ahead and grab that back. Probably another first rounder, to be honest, and then we can dabble to the 3 and the 5th round picks of kind of what we want to do. So if you want to do the Saints, if I'm the Saints, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I mean, you got Olave. If it's me, I mean, you got to get a quarterback. Jameis is not the guy. Andy Dalton's not the guy. I think your defense is good. You let some pieces go in the secondary, which I didn't 100% agree with, but I think you're young. You'll be good. You still got Lattimore, and that defensive line's elite. The Saints defense is not bad. I mean, but right now, they're missing a quarterback.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And you can build a championship team around Olave and Michael Thomas when he's healthy and Alvin Kamara. And we know that defense the Saints has, especially when they're cooking, is absolutely studly. All right, my worst is DJ Moore. It's DJ Moore. You have an incredible drive. All right, you have an incredible drive by P.J. Walker. I want to show this play. The Falcons are up 34-20. Surprise, surprise, the Falcons are going to blow it in the fourth quarter. All right, the Falcons are up 34-28. Just had an unbelievable drive by Marcus Mariota, capped off on a big play to Bird, who absolutely flew down the middle of the field and scored a touchdown. There's 23 seconds to go. Falcons are up 6. This is basically a Hail Mary play, and the Falcons get behind them. But remember, touchdowns only worth 6 points, so this ties the game. Let's go ahead and play the clip. Got the Panthers with the ball. Got him in the shotgun. Going to work, gets outside the pocket like they always do in Hail Marys. He's going to throw it deep, and DJ Moore is behind the coverage, makes an unbelievable catch. They were in 3-by-1. You just basically got a levels with a vert. All right? Or you call that flood. They flooded one side and ran the vert. DJ Moore it's a 70-yard touchdown to basically win the game, and he takes his helmet off during the celebration. There's still time, which is an automatic 15-yard penalty. And remember, in the NFL, the extra point is not the same distance from college. With a 15-yard penalty, it would have moved it in college back to about the 18, which makes it a 35-yard field goal. This pushed it back to make it basically a 50-yard field goal. Pinheiro pulls it left, which takes the game into overtime, where the Panthers still should have won. They missed another chip shot field goal, which that one, the one in overtime was more of a chip shot than the one during regular time. And the Falcons take it down, kick a field goal to win the game. DJ Moore, you keep your helmet on. It's a normal length extra point. You most likely win the game. It reminded me of, remember when Ole Miss and Mississippi State, when Elijah Moore, well, I'm glad he's back with the Jets now, not sitting out anymore. It's funny, he comes back and they start losing. But remember when he scored that touchdown at Mississippi State and lifted his leg up in the end zone like a dog taking a pee and got the 15-yard penalty, and Mississippi State was able to get the ball and go beat him? This reminded me of that. I guess if your last name's Moore, you better watch the way you celebrate in the end zone. But just a stupid play. Just a stupid play. Get excited. Celebrate with your teammates. What unbelievable for the NFC South lead.
So you're
for
saying,
the NFC South lead.
You're saying do less.
Do less.
Less is more.
Less is more.
Okay.
Charmin Ultra.
Charmin Ultra.
Charmin Ultra.
My worst from the NFL is the Raiders. It's the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. I mean, Blaine's been making fun of the Raiders for a while now, saying you got Devontae Adams and you got worse. How did it happen? It's true.
Yeah.
It's like actually true. And Josh Jacobs is a good back. Look, Derek Carr's not the best quarterback in the National Football League, but he's far more than serviceable. They should be winning football games. You lose to the Saints like this. Here's a few things. The Raiders are 2-5 now. They didn't move the ball across midfield until 2 minutes remaining in the game.
That's so bad.
How?
You almost have to try and
H-O-W, how? That's all I want to know, okay? Derek Carr was 15 of 26, 101 yards with a pick, was sacked 3 times before being replaced by Jared Stidham late in the fourth quarter. I don't understand it.
It doesn't
make sense.
It's a horror show.
It doesn't make sense. I don't. That's kind of what I said earlier in the year. I just don't like. Derek Carr is just mid. He's just mid. He's mid.
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I mean, I don't think it's just Derek Carr. I mean, you look at him defensively. They're not able to get stops when they need him. The offensive line, Derek Carr's been running for his life the whole year. Josh Jacobs, we know he's kind of hot or cold, but he's a hell of a back. But when you watch them run, he's having to break 2 tackles within the first 3 yards, it seems like, every single play. So it seems like
so clunky with it.
It does. Everything feels so hard for the Raiders to move the ball. It seems like every time they get an opportunity to flip it around, a different position group or a different side of the ball blows it. Sometimes you are just who you are, and I'm shocked more at not just that they're losing, but how they're losing. That's the part that surprises me.
You know, Josh McDaniels knows more about the game of football than I ever will. He's clearly a good football coach. But is this a situation where some guys are truly coordinators and don't need to be head coaches?
Well, it's you. How good of a motivator is Josh McDaniels? That's always been my question. He's not a huge rah-rah guy. He's not very emotional, but some guys know how to motivate without being super emotional. Andy Reid can motivate without being super emotional. But I don't know if Josh McDaniels can do that. I don't see his teams, even going back to when he was at Denver, playing with this fire that you see that the other teams. And I know some of that's put in you. Some of it's God-given. You know, are you born? Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. But it just seems like Josh McDaniels, they just go out there and it's just like, all right, well, this is our job. So we're just going to do our job. It just doesn't, there's not like an oomph. There's not like a sizzle with that team. And you would think with the weapons that they have, I know Waller's been hurt, but Devontae Adams, I mean, it's shocking.
So know who they are. What's their identity? I have no idea. I don't know if they're.
Let's go try.
They're going to run the ball.
Let's go try.
We're going to run the ball to open the pass. We're just coming out here to pass, to open up the run. I just don't know what they're trying to do. I really don't. That's what I get confused about. This was kind of tough for me. I was going looking through the worst. I mean, you can always go with the Lions defense.
Yeah.
I feel like that's low-hanging fruit. But, man, just watching this Packers and Bills game, you know what? Packers, you're out there. Your best receiver is a 4th-round pick out of, like, Nevada, and it's Romeo Doubs. That's the best guy you're throwing to.
Well, I'll give you one better. Your 2 best players on offense, and I know there's good players that come from everywhere, but they're from UTEP and Nevada.
It's just like you in the picks you had. Aaron Rodgers' best receiver is a 4th-round rookie from Romeo Doubs from like Nevada or something like that. That's the best we're going to do? That's what he's dealing with? I'm out here watching the Bills throw to Stephon Diggs and just all these guys are just phenomenal. Witches. And we go to the Packers and he's thrown to a 4th-round pick? How do you expect to win? You're not going to win these games. Hell, you got Aaron Rodgers, one of the best to ever do it, and you're still not going to win these games. You gave up Devontae Adams and got nothing. You got nothing. What'd you get? No. What'd you get? You got nothing. You were getting fleeced year in and year out with no picks to help this offense at all. We're going to go get the defensive players just to be mediocre on defense. It doesn't make sense to me. Something needs to be fixed. Please go. You had a chance to get Treylon Burks, just elite guys. Garrett Wilson.
We can go down the list of the wide receiver class.
Elite guys last year. There's not going to be a better wide receiver class than last year, probably for a while. And you got nothing out of it. You should be shamed in the streets.
It's the truth.
It is.
I mean, it's the truth. You could have fixed a lot of problems. And if I'm Aaron, I mean, it just is what it is at this point. You're getting paid. I just don't know how you thought a plan when Alan Lazard was your number 1 wide receiver was ever going to work, even with Aaron Rodgers. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm like, hey, can we maybe go get Julian Edelman or something, or Odell Beckham Jr., just somebody with a pulse.
Well, name an elite quarterback. Realistically, name a top 5 quarterback who doesn't have elite number 1 receiver.
Huh?
There's not one. Hell, I mean, you see what Derek Carr is right now with Devontae Adams. That tells you how good Aaron and Devontae were. I mean, let's go through it. Josh Allen. I mean, Stephon Diggs. Who would you say the number 2 quarterback right now?
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
So you have to have a guy.
Yeah, Tom Brady, Mike Evans. I mean, we can go down the list. All right, let's go to college real quick. We're going to get back to the Boost Club in a second. My best, K-State. Pretty simple. Woo! Beat the hell out of Oklahoma State with a backup quarterback. Will Howard coming in, doing his thing. I was skeptical without Adrian Martinez because of the experience of Spencer Sanders and that Oklahoma State team. Defensively, we've seen Oklahoma State struggle a little bit, but the offense has always been able to kind of pick them up. I was very, very impressed with Kansas State, and they never turned the spigot off. What do I mean by that? When they were up 30, they didn't stop. You had guys rallying to the ball. They beat Oklahoma State by mixing up looks defensively. I thought they did. I thought they did a good job of kind of confusing Spencer Sanders a little bit, but they were relentless for 4 quarters. Kansas State was in the backfield when the running back was breaking the line of scrimmage. There was 1 or 2 guys there. When a ball was thrown, it was like 6 guys from Kansas State were everywhere, and everything looked so hard for Spencer Sanders. He was having to throw everything off platform. There was no timing, and they had no run game. You take those 3 things away, and you're going to cripple any offense. But doing it against an experienced offense and a guy like Spencer Sanders being able to be there behind center, shutting him out, hats off to K-State. You played well in every facet of the game, including special teams. That was a complete team win.
Okay, I like that, man. My best from the weekend, I'm going to go with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
There he is. There's Coach Holtz. I'm going to go with Notre Dame. Look, on paper, you could say, wait, you're picking Notre Dame when they beat Syracuse? But hey, paper and the narrative goes out the window when this is a Notre Dame team that lost to Marshall and Stanford, and Syracuse is sitting there 6-1, ranked at home. This is a good win for Notre Dame to get things back on track. They rushed for 246, like I was saying the other day. Audric Estime and Logan Diggs, they are fantastic running backs. They run downhill. They're physical. I still think Drew Pine needs to work on his accuracy. He needs to work on a lot of things. He was 9 of 19, 116, something like that. But Notre Dame running the football was able to go on the road and get a nice win. And now you got Clemson at home.
Yeah, we talked.
And now we're going to find out. Yeah, now we're going to find out. This is 5-3 team. You have a chance to not only be bowl eligible with this victory coming up, but you have a chance to change the narrative around the country.
No, without a doubt, you could flip your whole season here. We talk about recruiting with Marcus Freeman. It's already going well. You win this one. Number one, you're going to throw the playoff into a little bit of chaos. And if I'm a 1-loss Oregon team, that's the thing I need the most. Also, we talked about bullying earlier. That's what Notre Dame did to Syracuse. They showed up in the Carrier Dome, which I'm going to still call it that, and they pushed them around. The offensive line for Notre Dame was living at linebacker level, and then the running backs were running through people like a bad case of chicken, let's just put it that way. But no, that was a hell of a performance by Notre Dame. And look, Marcus Freeman, we talk about motivator, right? Talk about motivator. He's a hell of a motivator.
Man, give me the TCU Horned Frogs.
Still undefeated.
They just keep winning.
Yep.
They just keep winning games, even if they're close games. Hell, it doesn't matter. If it's close or not, you're getting a W. You got Texas Tech at home. You go to Texas and Baylor and have Iowa State at home. All winnable games if you're TCU. They could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting to the point now, boys. They're 8-0. I mean, this isn't a fluke anymore. You know, Max Duggan is a problem. That receiver room is a problem. Your defense is not great. I mean, it's the Big 12.
It's good enough, though. I think
it's good enough for the Big 12.
I think it's good enough to give you a chance to win games with that offense because you have an elite wide receiver room. I mean, we talk about Tennessee's wide receiver room. We talk about Ohio State's wide receiver room. TCU has an elite wide receiver room.
There hadn't been a single game when they scored less than 38 points.
I'm telling you, them in Tennessee,
really good.
There's some offenses this year that. There may be some absolute fireworks we get down to the end of it.
Well, you see what 38, they dropped 38 on K-State.
Yeah, and you saw K-State pull Oklahoma State's pants down. All right, my worst is South Carolina. You've been given every gift this year. You've been given every gift this year. There's always that team that doesn't have the best personnel, that coaching elevates them, and you catch some breaks. That's been South Carolina. Not a great football team. You go play Kentucky without Will Levis. He's hurt, which totally... Talk about cripples them. They were dysfunctional on offense. You were able to wait them out. You had the turnover early. Then you catch A&M at home, who absolutely falls apart for the first 6 minutes of the first quarter. They spot you 17 points with Haynes King that's out here throwing it like this, okay? You're able to win that game. You get Missouri at home. Finally, you play a roster that you are better than, where if you go out there and you've won games by not losing them, right? We always say more teams lose games, they don't win them. South Carolina's been playing. They got the momentum. You're looking at 6-2, overachieving more than anybody while catching a lot of breaks. And you go out against Missouri and lay an absolute egg. Spencer Rattler's who we thought he was. All right, I think he's going to come back next year. I think he has a chance to be a good quarterback. I don't think he's this absolute beast that everybody thought he was. The offense was anemic. Satterfield was bad. But if you're South Carolina, you blew a huge opportunity at home against a team that had a quarterback in Brady Cook that could not turn it over 2 or 3 times every time he went on the road. So South Carolina dropped a golden opportunity, missed a golden chance this weekend to be able to really bump that record up at the end. And now, since you played like that, you gave one back, you got to go to Vanderbilt, a game you should win. But if you play that bad on offense again, Vandy's sneaky enough to make this a game. Then you end the year with what? Tennessee and Clemson?
Is it a Vandy dub?
I don't know.
Is it a Vandy dub, Jay? Come on, expectations, baby.
Crane.
I don't know.
Expectations, baby.
Give me a couple days. If I'm a South Carolina fan, I'm furious because again, the Klinko ball landed where you wanted it to. You're like, oh, if we could, especially the way the season started. You look at the way you played against Charlotte and Georgia State, and then you see how you played against Georgia. All right, and then all of a sudden you turn it around a little bit. Guys, forget 6-6. Hell, we're going to go 8-4, and then you lose to Missouri at home. You're what, 4th straight loss to Missouri, something like that? They can't beat Drinkwitz. Eli owns them. It's absolutely nuts. Blew it.
I love it. Coney?
Well, I won't spend a lot of time on this because we've already talked about it, but my worst from the weekend is the assault on Jaden McBurrows by the Michigan State players in the Michigan tunnel. Mark D'Antonio did such a fantastic job with this program, really not only turning them around, but making Michigan State care so much about this rivalry with Michigan. And I have a lot of respect for what they've brought to the table. They really have owned Michigan in a lot of ways. And each time that Michigan's lost to this team, it's tough. It hurts. It hurts every single time, and that's why the rivalry matters. But you don't see Michigan players acting like that after a loss. And if they were to, I would be even harder on them right now because we need to police our own. Now, it was a small subset of players that did this in the tunnel. There are some Michigan State players, staff members, coaches, and fans right now who are as disgusted by this behavior as the rest of us, and I know that they're going to get the situation taken care of. Mel Tucker's already suspended 4 players. There may be disciplinary action for some other ones, and there may even be criminal charges filed. So I understand all that, but the solution is we're not going to alter the big house. We're not going to add another tunnel. There's one way in, there's one way out, and we're going to act like men when we play football. If you want to kick someone's ass, you do it on the football field, not after the game.
Yeah, no, I think it is a bad look for Michigan State. But again, I know how volatile those situations are. That's why you've just got to be mature enough to not commingle, not intermingle. This isn't a, hey, we're on the field after the game. We played high school against each other. Love you, brother. Great game. See you next year. We're going to kick y'all's ass next year or whatever. Ha, ha, ha. This was a situation where you had an upset team entering the tunnel, a player that got involved, at least somewhat moving through the tunnel with it. It's just nothing good will come out of that. Nothing good can come out of that situation in the tunnel. Let's just let one team go. Let the other team go in after that. Let's be adults about the situation. Speaking about adults, though, Blaine, what's going on in the booth?
I mean, I was going to give my worst.
You didn't give your worst?
No, I didn't.
Oh, lose my mind. Go ahead.
So I was saying
that was my worst.
We're speaking of assault.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about Kentucky.
Yeah.
Good God, I want to hear none of this Will Levis first round talk anymore.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's out the window.
My game's kind of like Josh Allen's game. Yeah, the only similarity there is y'all both played quarterback.
It's done. It's done. All right. 3rd and 4th round, maybe. Project. We'll see how it goes.
Project Pat?
I mean, yeah.
Are you taking Anthony Richardson or Will Levis?
I'm taking AR-15.
I'm taking AR-15
for sure. But 44-6, demolished. I mean, Will Levis had 98 yards with 3 picks. His QBR was 16.5.
Wait, what were his numbers again?
He was 16-27 for 98 yards and 3 interceptions.
What was his QBR?
16.
So his QBR could barely drive?
I played better than him. I didn't even step on the field. I didn't step on the field. The only thing I know is Kentucky fans is if you're around Tennessee fans or you talk about Tennessee fans, first of all, lower your voice. All right? It's yes sir, no sir. Okay? You are now their children for at least the rest of this season. You didn't lose this game. Right? You got physically dominated in 4 quarters against Tennessee, and they came out in the all-blacks Halloween scaries, and you get treated like little children?
They brought out the dark skulls.
Oh, yeah, Kentucky fans, you know it's bad when they're calling for Stoops' head. After y'all didn't win anything for like 10 years, you lose one game to Tennessee
any Kentucky fan that's calling for Stoops' head needs to dress up like a jackass for Halloween because I have no idea what you're talking about. It was a thorough beatdown. I think Will Levis still has he's got Mitchell Trubisky written all over him. I can't change myself of that line of thinking. I just saw it a couple times. I'm like, Mitch, oh God, Mitch. No, but here's my thing with Kentucky. Yes, they did get beat down. I'm going to go back to what I said before the year and earlier in the year. It's amazing what Wan'Dale Robinson did for that offense last year. You got some of the same cast. Will Levis is back. Offensive line's still pretty good. Chris Rodriguez at running back, but no Ali, no Wan'Dale Robinson. And you've seen Kentucky go from an offense that could be somewhat explosive to super methodical, and it just absolutely avalanched on them. There was a very narrow path for Kentucky to win this game. They had to make it ugly, limit the possessions. They could not turn the ball over and give Tennessee more opportunities to be able to drill them into the ground, and that's what happened.
Okay, let's go to, I found something that was good. Texas Ed.
Texas Ed.
Okay, start bench cut.
Okay.
Will Levis.
Okay.
AR-15.
Ooh.
Spencer Rattler.
Ooh, I am starting AR-15. I am benching Will Levis, Spencer Rattler. Why don't you cry about it? Come give me that playbook.
That's mine too.
That's yours? All right, that would be mine too. All right, Daily Wire out of context and $1.99
Ooh, let me
donation.
hit that for DW.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
She says, I know I'm late. Excuse me, I meant to assume your gender right there.
Yeah, wow, Blaine, disgusting.
Says, I know I'm late, but hashtag Rocky Top, let's jam, baby. Big one this week.
Definitely. Me and you had a very nice on-key Rocky Top rendition to start the Sunday recap yesterday. I got some compliments on it. Even Reed was like, that was very, it's like she was listening to the Tone Rangers. Bop, bop, bo.
See, and I could sing it this weekend with you because the last time when they beat Alabama, the song was banned from the household for that week. So.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do that around Darby Lou because I would definitely not do it around Reed.
We'll go to Andrew Hamilton first. I had someone send me this weekend that was so funny. And this guy who played football, and this might be a real thing. But I don't know if you're Jimbo Fisher, how you can look at Haynes King helmet and start him. His helmet was like 8 sizes too big.
It really
He looks so weird.
Helmets have gotten worse.
Oh, they're terrible.
Yeah, it's
the helmets are. But if they help prevent concussions, I'm all for that.
Maybe that's why Haynes throws like that, because he's trying to make his arm miss the sides of his helmet.
Every time I see
Maybe that's why he keeps it up here so high, because if he keeps it right here, it's going to hit the side of it.
It's huge.
Maybe we just figured out Haynes.
It's not like an earpiece. There's like megaphones in there.
Yeah,
like
if his head was as big as his helmet,
Jimmy
he'd be the
Neutron's
smartest person in the world.
Good God,
Brain
biggest
would have to
helmet
be
Is Connor Wegman starting for A&M moving forward?
Has to be.
Every game?
For the rest of this season,
Yeah.
until Max Johnson comes back next year.
All right, let's go to
You think Max
Andrew.
will start over him?
Needs to.
Andrew Hamill, hashtag Ask Crane and Company. Who are the top three prospects in college football for the NFL draft right now?
The top
three picks, fellas.
I would say
Anderson.
give me Bryce Young. Give me Bijan Robinson.
Running back at 2.
Give me, I think offensive line-wise, Will Anderson.
I was going to say, Will Anderson has to be my number one. Unless it's a team that just absolutely needs a generational quarterback, then I think you need to look at Bryce Young or maybe even C.J. Stroud. Maybe C.J. Stroud can be the one, the Buckeye quarterback that turns it around.
To buck the tradition of them
buck the
struggling in the NFL.
yeah.
All right.
Maybe Justin Fields, there's still hope there. He's playing better. He's putting up more points.
Yeah.
I mean, hell,
I think
he's got
Justin will be
Darnell
fine.
Mooney and then like me.
Yeah, he's
I
got
thought it
Darnell
was
Mooney,
gonna
the guy
be
that works
Dwayne
at
Haskins,
7-Eleven at
honestly.
receiver.
I thought Dwayne Haskins was going to be an amazing pro. But
I think CJ will be an extremely good NFL player.
you think so?
I do. I mean, seeing the guys succeed right now. I mean, Marcus Mariota's out there playing great. I mean,
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith's
Geno
out there playing.
Smith.
Like, who would have
Geno
thought?
Smith.
If you'd have looked me in the eyes,
Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, Heineke.
Geno Smith.
I love
Get
it.
your hands off my
Slinging
Heineke.
it.
I mean, well, for the Colts didn't play Sam didn't play
No,
terrible
Sam didn't
either.
play bad.
So, I mean, if those guys can do it, hell, C.J. Stroud sure can do it.
You would think.
The only thing I know is Bryce Young is going to be the
P.J. Walker's
Famer.
out there balling.
P.J. Walker.
P.J. Walker.
Ah,
He reminds me of
P.J.
Geno.
Walker's out here trying to get a job.
He reminds me of Geno, actually.
Dude, I tell
Very
you what.
poised in the pocket.
He made a couple
nice
throws
throwing
yesterday.
motion. Yeah.
He threw one on a dig. I was like, damn.
That's the same one, the one that got dropped?
Yes.
The one that led to a pick?
Yes.
Or was
The
it?
one that- no.
The Falcons player dove for it and dropped it.
No. This ball was caught. It was like 3rd and 9, and
Okay.
he drilled a dig in between the linebacker and the safety. They like literally just whispered at the linebacker's finger.
I'm talking
that was
about-
an absolute dart.
Okay, I'm talking about a dig he threw near the end of the game, and I think it was right on the money. The wide receiver dropped it, and the Falcons almost picked it off. when he made that throw, I was like, man, this
Dude, the
kid
throw he made to
can sling it.
DJ Moore to give them the lead, that bomb.
And think about just 3 months ago what
a
we were talking about
splash
here.
job.
They trade for Baker Mayfield, right? They drafted our boy Matt Corral. They
Have
had Sam Darnold already on the roster. None of those three guys starting right now. PJ Walker, I wouldn't have known PJ Walker if he came in here and introduced himself and said, "Hi, I'm PJ Walker."
That's exactly
Now he's
right.
slinging digs all over the field.
It's just a weird year in the NFL, right?
It is a weird year.
I mean, Tom's struggling, Aaron's struggling,
PJ Walker's balling.
PJ Walker's balling.
That's how it happens
Tino's
sometimes.
balling. Marcus Mariota's out there balling. What's going on?
Daniel Jones is out there.
Kirk Cousins out there balling.
Kirk Cousins, well,
That's how it happens sometimes.
Another
Blaine.
win for
You know
Kirk
what I
Cousins
mean?
and the Vikings. Who'd have thought?
yeah, the Vikings are really good.
Daniel Jones balling, kind of.
Let's go to, God, I found something. Let's go to first, Seth McDonald. God, Tennessee fans just coming out of the woodworks. This is great. He says, I was 13 when Tennessee won their last natty in 98. I was hooked, and I've been dreaming of this week ever since. Vol for life.
Ball for
Look,
life.
it's a good time to be a Vol right now. All right, speaking about a good time, if you want to watch the rest of this, remember, if you want to listen to it, just stay right here. But if you want to watch it, head over to the Daily Wire Plus, become a member, or listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share it with all your friends. Got some great stuff coming up after the break, including Rapid Fire. We're talking Major League Baseball. We're talking some NASCAR, and the Big 12 making a big deal with ESPN and Fox. We'll be right back. All right, appreciate you guys sticking with us. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you're still with us on YouTube. Cone, let's get into some rapid fire. Hit that button.
Go. All right, World Series tied 1-1.
Yes.
Phillies was able to split in Houston tonight. Lance McCullers is going for the Astros. The Phillies are going to go with Noah Syndergaard on the mound tonight.
Look, I'm not big on Noah Syndergaard. Through the injuries, we saw him in the bullpen. They moved in the starting job. I just feel like he is going to get slapped around the yard like somebody that snuck into a barbecue. When I look at this Astros lineup, I feel like we've seen a lot of runs scored already. I just don't think Syndergaard has the old Syndergaard stuff. I know it's in Philly. There'll be a lot of momentum. It just feels like he's the guy that's going to give up 4 runs in the first inning of the Astros. And on the other hand, Lance McCullers got a lot of witch in him. If the Astros are going to tee off on Zach Wheeler and they're going to tee off on Aaron Nola to get him out there, I think they're for sure as hell going to be teeing off on Noah Syndergaard. I like the Astros tonight. Maybe big. Do not be shocked if Yordan Alvarez hits 2 tanks, a 3-run home run and a 2-run home run. Give me the Astros tonight because I do not believe in Noah Syndergaard. Astros win this one. They make up for that game that was snatched at Houston, and they ended up winning the series. They end up winning the series in 6, like I said.
Cap, Phillies in 6. Thor's back, baby.
Thor's back?
Thor's back.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot of love and thunder
Phillies in
tonight.
6.
There's going to be some thunder.
Hashtag
It's
big
gonna be on the
trust.
Astros back.
Big trust.
Big trust in Noah Syndergaard tonight.
Phillies in 6.
I'm asking you have big trust in Noah Syndergaard tonight.
Big trust.
Okay.
Big trust.
Big
It's
trust.
big trust.
Big trust.
What does him and a rich kid have in common?
Big trust.
Both got big trust.
There you go. Talk about bouncing back. Christian McCaffrey yesterday with a pass TD, a rush TD,
I'll tell you what.
and a receiving
First
touchdown.
one since
boys.
LaDainian Tomlinson to do that.
Really? The
LT
TD
was
trifecta?
Yeah, LT was the last one to
LT.
do it. Go ahead, Blaine.
This is the thing with me. First of all, Christian McCaffrey. Great job getting out of the Panthers.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
God. Bless your heart. I bet you're already so much happier. But I know this was great, and this was a great trade, and the 49ers looking like a Super Bowl team. But damn, guys, I know offenses is so fun to watch, touchdowns, but every time I watch a 49ers game, it's just Fred Warner.
He's so
It's
good.
all I can watch.
He's so
It's
good.
all I can watch. I know
He's so
Bosa's
good.
great and stuff that, but Fred Warner as a coach, you have to be sitting in this film room like, this dude is so good.
It's
So him and
good at
Isaiah
everything.
Simmons for the Cardinals, Isaiah Simmons is one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah.
The outside
Dude,
linebacker. for the Cardinals.
Fred Warner is out there covering people.
He's disgusting.
He is flying. He's making the right reads in the run game, and he's unbelievably physical. And he rushes the passer. He's so efficient when he rushes the passer when they bring him on blitz. The Niners yesterday ran this. They ran a stun up front where they twisted Fred Warner. They slanted to the left, wrapped Fred Warner back around. He went about 3 gaps over to the right. watching him realize that he's right and beating that guard before the guard can replace his hands over in the backside, and watching him go get the quarterback yesterday, watching him go get Matt Stafford, it was like they shot him out of one of those Donkey Kong cannons, or the ones they get into, just absolutely exploded through the line of scrimmage and got to Stafford so quick. But he makes the calls, he gets guys lined up. He's an unbelievable tackler, whether it's in open space or in a congested area, which there is a absolute art form to tackling in a congested area, just like there is in open space. But good Lord, I'm with you, Blaine. Fred Warner is a freak.
Blaine hit Christian McCaffrey with the bless your heart.
Yeah,
you see what Deebo Samuel did, who didn't play yesterday? They said he went over to the coach and was like, "Thank you, dog." Like, thank you. Think about if you're Devo, like, I didn't do this all by myself.
Yeah.
You know, give me Trey Lance. Like, I'm supposed to win over here with Trey Lance, who can't even throw it. Now you bring in Jimmy G, calm everything down. I'm still one of the main weapons, but Brandon Ayuk's been stepping up. We've seen Jeff Wilson Jr., huge check. Obviously, he's got the finger deal right now, but he's going to be fine. And then George Kittle at tight end. But what do you go do? Just when I thought you couldn't get any dumber, you go make a move like this and get Christian McCaffrey and totally redeem yourself. The Niners are for real, boys. They're for real.
All right, man. From one great back to another, Derrick Henry tied O.J. Simpson and Adrian Peterson with his 200th game of his career.
Let you handle
Dear Derrick, thanks again. Hold
on.
Is that a dono?
Is that a dono?
Is that a dono? Did you
I don't know.
your phone?
That definitely
Wow.
Halloween. Spooky stuff happens.
No.
Spooky stuff happens on Halloween.
In the chat or underneath the video,
Why does that happen?
What should Blaine's punishment be for his phone going off?
God, you know what? I'm so glad the pie in the face thing's not happening.
Oh, yes.
now.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not.
You're
happening.
right. It's definitely not happening.
That's so.
Y'all keep saying this. You're just going to forget.
Jake, it was so stupid of us to forget
we
it.
should have forgotten to pie Blaine.
Golly, dang.
Don't try it today.
Yeah. Oh, man, this is not coming today. Don't worry about today. You don't worry about today.
You're running out of time.
Yeah, Derrick Henry, man. 200th career game. Unbelievable.
Look, as a guy who drafted him in fantasy, and I'm so glad I did not draft Jonathan Taylor. But Derrick Henry, I had Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne, Derrick Henry, and Aaron Jones. And at running back, obviously, two of them were on the bench. If you combine my running back scores this week, it's like 120.
Wow.
Let's just say the running back position, we're loaded. We're feeling like Georgia.
Man, Derrick Henry will retire as the greatest running back in NFL history. I really believe that.
You really believe that?
I think so. I mean, obviously, to
gotta win Super Bowl.
I don't think so at the running back position, but he would have to stay healthy to get to that level.
Better than Barry Sanders.
I think so. I was looking at this
Emmitt
right here.
Smith.
I believe so. 200th career rushing game. Just against the Texans, he has 4. Barry Sanders had 3.
Imagine if he played the Texans every week. He'd definitely be the best one ever. By the way, I did not know Walter Payton also threw for a touchdown pass, caught a touchdown pass, and ran a touchdown pass.
Trifecta.
Thought that was a cool one.
Wow.
Malik Willis got his first win as a starter.
Yeah.
There you go.
Go Malik.
Yeah.
Go,
Win. Boy from Liberty.
Ryan Tannehill. I'm feeling better, Coach. It's miraculously better.
Yeah.
And I took the Texans in this one for that very reason.
I didn't touch this game. I almost took the under. But the Falcons coming through for me the way they did. Woo! That one was
Huge
a day
win
saver
for Malik and the boys. Did you guys see Jared Allen come in for his Ring of Honor
I did not see
entrance
this.
with the Vikings?
You mentioned this.
We have this clip of Jared Allen
I think
coming in.
Jared Allen
Watch
was a
this.
hell of a player. On the
Like a
horse.
legend.
Let's run the clip. If you're in audio, he's riding a horse onto the field to be inducted into the Ring of Honor. You want to know how you know you're really good?
No.
When they let you do that.
Yeah.
And unlike the SMU game, the horse did not defecate all over the field, causing a 15 to 20 minute delay where they picked it up with solo cups. Because apparently nobody brought a shovel and or poop scooping apparatus that was more efficient.
I was trying to just work through this mentally yesterday. Like, you're so good that an NFL team is calling you to say, "Hey, we want to honor you for the rest of our team's existence by putting your name in the Ring of Honor." And then you respond by saying, "That's great. When I come in, I want to be riding a horse and I'm going to have a cowboy hat because I'm on that level."
And they said,
I'm that,
sure.
and then they said, "Yeah, what time can you be here?" Like, that's legend status.
That lets you know you're swinging a power stick when it comes down to it.
All right, boys. The Big 12 is nearing a six-year, $2.2 billion media rights deal with ESPN and Fox.
I'm shocked. Whoa, I'm shocked. ESPN and Fox.
This is with Texas and Oklahoma leaving now.
I know. Look, it's ESPN and Fox are taking this whole thing over. Okay, that's what it's going to come down to. All right, I think at the end of the day, we're going to have two super conferences. They're going to name one ESPN and the other one Fox. And they're going to battle it out in the Klingons for interstellar domination. Like, it's just, that is not surprising me. Now that you look at the Big 12, the questions about media rights are ACC. Going to renegotiate? How's this going down with the ACC? I know y'all want more bread. You see in the Big 12, what'd you say, how much was 2.2 billy?
A billy?
2.2 billy? All right, Pac-12. What are y'all trying to congregate over there and put a bunch of, telephone wires together and get enough people to watch for it to matter? USC, UCLA leaving. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting to see these deals. We already know about the SEC. I want to see these deals that the Pac-12 and the ACC get done. That's where it's going to be interesting. And then you look at the streaming services, Amazon, Hulu. I'm watching Notre Dame play on Peacock or something, like playing against the Wiggles or something like that.
No, but they didn't play on Peacock this weekend, and I watched them. Yeah. I watched them play football.
I know.
Imagine that. It's a novel idea. I'm not buying Peacock.
Parking?
You are so against Peacock.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not paying for NBC.
Yeah,
okay?
That's a good point.
I already have the Office Blu-rays done.
I don't believe in birds that can't fly.
Me either.
It's just not a real thing.
Is an ostrich really a bird?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't think so.
I mean, I know it's this. You're making Billy. You're making a Billy out here. Hold on, God. You're making a Billy out here. I want parking cheaper, tailgating cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
I want the tickets cheaper.
Yeah.
All right. So real thing, and they're going up. All right.
No.
You're making all this money. This should be cheaper. For your fans.
If you're paying, that's fine. Then you want to pay all this money for TV rights. I'll stay at home and watch it on TV. You can keep making these tickets as expensive.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to keep making the tickets as expensive. I'm not going.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, come on, man. Come on, Joe Biden. Figure it out. And this economy.
Executive order.
If it's me, first thing.
Y'all can tell the colleges stop costing so daggone much. Make the game stop costing so daggone much.
It's ridiculous, man.
Simple economics.
All right, last one, just because to the boxing world now, because Blaine's boy, Jake Paul, knocking down Anderson Silva, getting a big win. Also, Vasily Lomachenko fought this weekend, had a big win. You heard back from the Paul camp?
Won't fight me. I don't know what I need to do.
I don't know why.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. This is day 7 of the Yankees not apologizing.
Yeah.
We're still coming after you on Twitter.
You need to fight Jake Paul and the Yankees at the same time.
That's fine. No,
or Jake Paul,
Yankee Stadium.
Jake Paul wearing a Yankees jersey in Yankee Stadium, fight of the century.
No, I'm serious.
Fight of the century.
I'll promo that.
First of all,
I'll promo
Jake Paul keeps fighting 40-year-olds.
Yeah. Why does he keep fighting guys who got AARP
old men? Like, what I need to do? What do I need to do for you to fight me, dog? Like, you look great here. Give me 2 months. I'll kick your ass.
Well, the thing is, like, I heard he's fighting Sister Jean.
No, yeah. Well, I got Sister Jean in that. She's like 130.
What was his line? He said, if I walked on water, they'd tell me I couldn't swim.
Yeah. Well, then you wouldn't be swimming.
Well, you walked in the Daily Wire, you'll get drowned by these hands.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's play this real quick. So I want you to walk me through what you would do differently here. Can we play this clip?
There we go.
First of all, I'd be in Southpaw. No,
he is in Southpaw.
Easy right.
He was in Southpaw.
Well, he flipped.
Again, you're fighting 80-year-old Anderson Silva, and Anderson Silva is not a boxer.
That's true.
I hate this. This is like celebrating striking out LeBron.
It's like it really is.
No, it really is. Let's be honest.
Kind of.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. You're beating somebody in a sport that they don't play. There's a huge difference between UFC and boxing.
What if it's like
there's a huge difference between MMA and jiu-jitsu.
It's like striking out Justin Verlander because he's not a hitter.
No,
but it's the same
that's too much.
Sport.
Well, to me, it'd be like striking out a softball player. If you want to go with that. I'm just telling you, it's
okay.
I
understand where you're going.
No. Like Justin Verlander, I can see what you're saying. All right, and I guess that is somewhat of a good comparison. But I'm just not impressed that you're beating up old people that don't play the sport. If I go and dunk, if Justine walks in here right now and I dunk on her, I'm not gonna be like, that's right.
First of all, she's sending that.
That's right. No, first off, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Justine's
it's a flagrant one because I yammed it in her face and then celebrated.
She's sending that, man.
No. I'm sending that all the way back to Charlotte. Good luck.
I just don't know what I have to do to get this man to fight me.
I don't know either. I don't know either.
I don't know what I have to do. What I need to do.
All right.
You don't have to pay me.
Speaking of what we need to do, I'm about to head over to the board of Justice, Truth, Emotions, and Friendship. What's going on in the Booster Club?
All right, we had a $10 donation.
Hit the button, David.
Rhino Caliendo.
Rhino.
Says Dak and Riley will be in MSU this week. I've got an extra ticket to the MSU game. If Jake wants to admit Dak, he was wrong about him in person while Riley watches.
Wait. I was wrong about Dak. Like what? I never said. I said.
I just read the question.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think Dak is mid. Yes. I don't think Dak's an awful quarterback. I thought he should have played over Cooper Rush. We just talked about how interesting it was going to be. I'm trying to see about the Dak situation. Are we talking about Dak and Kirk Cousins? Because the way I'm looking at it right now, the Vikings and the Cowboys are doing good. We'll check come playoff time.
And they have a matchup before that.
Oh, please.
They have a matchup. Hold on. They have a matchup.
I'm going to need to hold that one right now.
In 2 weeks in Minnesota.
Oh, it's in Minnesota.
Tough one. Michael Hodgefeller, $1.99 donation. Mike's always in here balling.
Actually, I think it's.
Would you rather go to a WNBA game or LFL game?
What's LFL? Ladies Fall League?
Lingerie
Football League. What?
They're out there playing. They're hitting.
I
just pulled it up.
Can I coach?
Yeah, you can.
I'll be the coach. Like, ladies, get in here. Everybody, bring it in. Y'all look great.
It's the Legends Football League with lingerie football players.
So wait a minute. Why did they call it the Legends Football League?
I don't know. The concept of scantily clad girls.
Because they can't say lingerie. We can't just call this. Look, the women are half naked playing football. Why don't we just call it that? We can't. That's not appropriate. Legends. What are they legendary in? Wearing underwear and playing football? Which sounds great. You would think those are both my worlds collide. You think that'd be my favorite sport of all time. Come to think of it, it may actually be. How have I not watched this? Why am I watching Georgia play Tennessee when I can watch that?
You just discovered your favorite sport.
This
late in life. That's great.
Two favorite things collide.
Yeah. I hear you.
All right, let's go to
God, if it'd be brought to you by Jimmy John's, I'd freak out.
Jimmy John's.
So mad.
Yeah.
Bacon Eater says, which college team would have the best shot at beating an NFL team?
None.
Best shot, though, fellas.
Georgia?
Yeah.
Probably. I would say they would get destroyed.
Probably Tennessee.
No.
I don't think there's a defense out there to stop it.
Line Georgia up against the Raiders right now.
And the Raiders are killing
Raiders are still going to win.
The Raiders are going to kill
But here's the thing. The Raiders would get that win and maybe get a little bit of confidence moving forward.
I don't know. Isn't that like when the Major League Baseball teams always play? Like, I see, all right, Georgia Tech's playing the Braves today. If I'm Georgia Tech coach, I'm like, damn it.
All right, let's go to Huddy. What's up, brother?
You get 4 outs.
Let's go to Neil H. Neil said, if the Seahawks make the playoffs as Pete Carroll Coach of the Year, this transformation has been incredible. 6 starting rookies.
Yeah, and they're winning the way that Pete Carroll, I think, deep down wants to win. And Geno Smith's a great story. I think it's going to be hard for them not to give it to Brian Daboll or one of the coaches out of New York.
If he wins a Super Bowl, though?
Oh, if he wins a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Are you talking about making the playoffs?
No, playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
The playoffs.
If they win the Super Bowl, I mean, hell yeah.
Oh.
But making the playoffs, I mean, I just looking at it, what we've seen the Seahawks win, right? We've seen the Seahawks have success. I know it was in a different way with different players. I think that the New York story right now is one that's crazy. But no, there's a lot of cool stories around the NFL right now about some teams that are kind of surging that we didn't think were going to surge.
All right, let's go to Sweet Baby Blaine. What a name. He says, who gets in the playoff if Tennessee beats Georgia but loses to Alabama in the SEC championship?
Alabama. Here's the part that I'm trying to reconcile in my mind. If Alabama loses one of these games, and we're going to be breaking down LSU, Alabama, obviously all week. We got Lugan Bill coming on. I'm trying to get Jordan Rodgers on this week as well. If Alabama goes to the SEC championship game with two losses
and wins, that's the question.
They've got to be in, right? Think about this.
I know.
Think about this. If Tennessee loses to Georgia, okay, Georgia goes to the SEC championship game. Alabama drops one of the next 2 on the road in Oxford or in Baton Rouge. Alabama plays Georgia in the SEC championship game. Alabama has 2 losses. Alabama beats Georgia. Tennessee would have 1 loss on the road at Georgia and had beaten Alabama, and Alabama would still go to the playoff.
I know, that's a tough situation.
There's no way a 2-loss Alabama team, if they win the SEC championship game, doesn't go to the playoff.
I agree.
They won't keep Saban out. I'd be willing to bet you all the King Midas is gold.
So a one-loss Big Ten team wouldn't get in?
Well,
a one-loss Michigan Ohio State team wouldn't get in the playoff?
What are you talking about?
you're talking about if one of
we're talking about the SEC.
If one of the Big Ten teams goes undefeated, wins the conference, and the other one only has one loss. I know, it's a tough situation.
Well, then so to me, it all depends on what Clemson does. If Clemson goes undefeated, then the table's pretty much set.
And TCU
goes undefeated.
If TCU and Clemson goes undefeated, if TCU and Clemson go undefeated, they're in.
Yeah, that's
put those two in. You put one SEC team in.
It depends on the field. See. Like the field, Alabama with 2 losses depends on the field. Like that's what it comes.
If they win the SEC championship,
even if they win the SEC
they'll put them in.
There's no way you can put them over a one.
They'll put them in.
I think so.
They'll put them in.
If you're the SEC,
they'll put them in. So what are you gonna do? Hold on, no SEC
a one-loss Michigan team against Ohio State.
SEC team.
One-loss, no SEC team. Georgia would get in.
So hold on. So you're saying Georgia would lose the SEC championship game to Alabama and get in, but Alabama wouldn't
with 2 losses?
SEC championship?
You lost 2 games.
I don't think so. I think they put Bama.
You lost 2 games.
I think they put Bama in.
Which we haven't seen before. We haven't seen a 2-loss team.
I think they put Bama in.
I think he's right.
I think they'd say the SEC champion is Alabama. We're putting them in.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised by that, but I would be surprised by that.
I don't think it's just an Alabama thing.
That is what the committee is praying to God does not happen. That a 2-loss Alabama team wins the SEC championship.
Yes, I agree with you.
That's what they're praying
that does not happen. I do think that you would have to take into consideration the second loss. I mean, is it by 50 points to LSU?
There's so many. We could sit here and go through the hypotheticals.
And I don't think it's just Alabama. I think if Georgia were to lose 2 games and in the same scenario win the SEC, I think a 2-loss Georgia team could get in with 2 losses.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's crazy either. Yeah. I don't think that's crazy either. All right, Blaine, one quick one. Let's get the bets.
Okay, yes, God, I had something good in here and just absolutely disappeared. Let's go to we'll go to M. Hutton. What's up, buddy? The committee is going to get multiple SEC teams, and if Clemson, TCU, and Ohio State, Michigan are all unbeaten, there's no way.
Well, Ohio State and Michigan can't be unbeaten.
Yeah, there's no way. I just don't see. Oh, and another thing, the Alabama LSU spread is -13 for Alabama.
That's a little lower than what I thought it was. It was
plus 550 for LSU.
It opened up at 16. God, I like 14.5 there. All right, here's what we got tonight. Last day of the month, 58, 40, and 1 on the month. Just, again, 0-0 today when I woke up. Getting ready for November. It's the birthday month. I win this month. I am leading in total months won, but that's neither.
Okay, we get it. We get it.
All right, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, anytime touchdown, that's together at plus 235. Guys, let's get down there and run the ball.
Let's get down there and run the ball.
Kareem Hunt, thinking about trading him. Let's phase him out of the game a little bit. Nick Chubb, I'm a little worried about the amount of carries, but excuse me, he typically gets enough run. I think in this game, obviously the battle for Ohio, he's going to get some touches there, and then we know Joe Mixon, especially catching the ball out of the backfield as well as a threat in the red zone. Then, since I'm going plus 235 on the first bet, I'm going to play it, at least we think, safe, over 41.5. That's at -175, obviously, for the Bengals and Browns. Cone.
All right, boys, last day of the month. I need a big units play here to even be in this thing, so I'm going to go first. We got 2 same-game parlays here. First one, Nick Chubb touchdown score, and I need him to have over 90 yards. Okay. All right. Jacoby Brissett, over 220 yards, and I need Amari Cooper to have over 60 of those yards receiving. All right. That's all one same-game parlay on DraftKings at plus 800. My second one, Cleveland Browns, over 2.5 touchdowns, over 1 touchdown, over 0.5, so 1 touchdown in the first quarter. I need the Browns to be up in the first quarter. No, I need the Browns to be up in the first half. Sorry. Over in the game, 45.5 points, and Cleveland to cover a 3.5-point spread. That's plus 750.
Ooh, so you got a plus 800 and a plus 750.
I love it, man. I love it. Last day of the month. Hey, I'm not going to go anything too crazy here. I actually did somewhat surprisingly better than I do in the NFL. It was 4-1. I actually took an extra bet on accident. So give me Cleveland money line, plus 150. All right. Give me Hayden Hurst on my fantasy team. Look, running away with fantasy right now. I just want to see Hayden play well. Mm-hmm. All right, so give me anytime touchdown, plus 250. Hey, won $300 on Dawson Knox scoring the first touchdown.
You'll love to see it.
First touchdown of the game yesterday, so why not go at it again? Give me a Coop. Amari Cooper with the first touchdown plus 1,000, fellas.
I like it. All right, Baby Cone. He's going to take the Bengals minus 2.5. That's at 142. Then he's going to go Astros on the money line tonight at minus 130, trying to get up 2 games to 1 against the Phillies. Guys, real quick, fantasy update.
Listen to this. Okay, so fantasy football. I'm playing Clavin this week, who just absolutely freaked out with Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey, Ramondre Stevenson, Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown. Just record week for Mr.
It's a
Clavin.
who's who.
I'm down by 100, okay? But here's what I have going tonight. Joe Burrow going tonight. I have Nick Chubb going tonight, and I picked up Tyler Boyd, okay, in Jamar Chase's absence. So 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I need a 40-piece and a couple 30 pieces, and I'd still lose by 4. But, you know.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you right now, with the guys you have left to play, who knows? Joe Burrow freaked out last week.
Yeah, he did, and so did Tyler Boyd.
All right, so as we know, I'm 4-3, tied for second, going up against Morning Wire. Right now, I am up 184-84. I still got Evan McPherson left to play. Kyler Murray went for 28. Derrick Henry went for 36. Aaron Jones went for 20. Adam Thielen, who was playing because I had a couple guys on a bye, he went for 13. Jalen Waddle, baby, went for 31. TJ Hawkinson, good job filling in for Travis Kelce, gave me 11. Tony Pollard went for 34. Evan McPherson's kicking tonight. And the Cowboys defense, double digits, 2 straight weeks, 13 points for me. It is the ass beating of a lifetime going on right now.
You're 4th right now.
Huh?
You're 4th.
Tied for second best record. Me and you are both technically tied for second.
Well, it comes to points.
All right, so if you have more points than me on the 4 line in a couple weeks, but we have the same record, I'm going to say we're tied.
Okay, as long as we have the same record?
Okay. Because before you said you were in
I'm
second.
totally. We don't go down to tiebreakers until
that's not what happened a couple weeks ago. You were in the extra spot up because you had the most points scored in the league.
But I never said I was the only one in second place. I never said I was the only one in second place. And I said it's a good sign that I've scored the most points and had the most points again. Don't.
All right, guys.
All
right, guys.
I'm daily wiring you. I'm getting the facts.
Enough about y'all two. It's my turn. All right, I'm talking my turn. My turn this week. All right. Michael Knowles, take this. Take this L. You and Ben Davis.
Can you make him eat a hot chip or something?
Yeah, for sure. Jalen Hurts, 32-piece. The kid's phenomenal. Alvin Kamara, 43-piece. Thank you, Alvin. It was time. DeAndre Swift, 15 points. Not good enough. Not good enough. Let's go to DeAndre Hopkins, 34 point. Glad I picked him up. Chris Godwin let everybody down with 14. Hayden Hurst, hey, this is, Jamar's out. Just kind of falling to being that guy a little bit. Cooper Kupp, 23 points. Kind of a light day for him. Daniel Carlson, 0 points. Raiders, we can't get a field goal. I mean,
damn, y'all can't kick extra.
Eagles, 16 points. Big dub for the kids. Still got Hayden Hurst in it with 175. Let's start getting the wheels moving a little bit with this team, all right? It's amazing when like the stars play good in the NFL. My team plays good.
That's what fantasy comes down to.
Like when the stars play good, that's when our team plays good. That's why I feel like I drafted well. All right, y'all ready for this poll?
Yes.
Let's do it. This one's tough, fellas. All right. Which holiday is the best? Halloween, Christmas, and Thanksgiving?
It's Christmas.
Christmas.
Are y'all saying that
it's
Christmas? What y'all like the most?
Yeah. Well, I think the Booster Club said Christmas. Give me 52%.
Christmas, 51%.
Christmas, 72%.
Good. I knew it was Christmas.
21%.
I knew it was Christmas.
I'm like, look, Christmas is fun and like when you're growing up.
Yeah.
But now you have to buy gifts. So
yeah,
Thanksgiving. Because I don't care.
All right, I do want to say something. I do want to make sure we understand the difference between pine tar and the tacky spray that people spray on the bats that stop the ball, which basically creates backspin. I'm talking about normal pine tar. I'm talking about when they say you can't let the pine tar reach up to this certain point on the bat. I have no idea why that's
use it all.
Use it all.
It's a bat.
Use steroids.
It's a bat. Use it all. Let the pitcher use it.
Not the tacky spray, any of that stuff.
This crap about, wide receivers can't use stick 'em on their hands. Please, get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, stick 'em, pine tar, use it all, cork bats, the whole thing. Just don't put steroids in your body, please.
No, put steroids in your body. John Brink has said it's okay.
You just no.
So it's okay. He's a scientist.
We're not doing this again. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check us out everywhere on social media. Got a great show tomorrow, Big Game Boomer. Y'all want to do power rankings?
Oh, God, I can't wait.
Power rankings tomorrow.
Let's do college football power rankings tomorrow.
BGB to come on.
Oh, yeah, with Michigan State. Oh, you've been waiting on that one.
Huh?
Don't act like you don't know.
Don't act like you don't know.
I'm just going to ask.
And like the chances of David not knowing the trash talk's going to be heavy, not clean, and somewhat pure tomorrow, we're going. Gone.